Hello everyone, this is an introduction to Microsoft Project and I am Nabil Murad. What is Microsoft Project? To my opinion, definitions are extremely important when we start learning a new application. I can define Microsoft Project in two ways. It can be defined as a family or it can be defined as a function. So let's look at the first definition as a family. Many people think that Microsoft Project is a member of the Office suite of applications, among other members like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and so on. However, if you buy any version of Microsoft Office, whether you are buying the Home and Student Edition or you are buying the Business or Enterprise Edition, none of them will include Microsoft Project. So why do people say so? There are two reasons for the confusion. Number one, Microsoft Project shares a common interface with other Microsoft Office applications, a horizontal bar at the top called the ribbon, and a working area below it. If you have seen any other Microsoft Office application, then Microsoft Project will look familiar to you. All the tools that you learned in other applications like copying, pasting, finding, replacing, all these tools will be used in the same manner within Microsoft Project. The second reason for saying it might belong to the Office suite of application, although it doesn't, that's because they complement each other. They can be integrated within each other. So if some members of your team do not have Microsoft Project and they started already planning for a project by creating a list of tasks in Word, in Excel, even in Outlook, you can import this list of tasks or import the list of contact people or resources from Outlook. Or you can do the opposite. If you create a project, then you can send the project report out and share it with people who do not have Microsoft Project by exporting the project report to Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, or even a picture. Whether you are importing or exporting, you have to map the predefined or the built-in field names in Microsoft Project to the column headers in other applications, and this is what we call a data map. So you have an import data map or an export data map. It's all about matching the predefined field names in Microsoft Project to the column headers in other applications. I talked about Microsoft Project as a family. So what about Microsoft Project as a function? We have three definitions that look at project from three different perspectives. And the three definitions complement each other, by the way. So the first definition says Microsoft Project is simply a tool used by project managers to create a project schedule. What is a project schedule? It's a model of a real project, what you think will happen, what you wish to happen in terms of tasks, time, and cost. For the second definition, I'll be using these three terms because Microsoft Project is an application dealing with three constraints. A list of tasks, this is what we call the scope of the project, and because each task has a start time and a finish time, and accordingly the entire project has a start date and a finish date, so we are talking about time or schedule, and because we are very much concerned about the cost of the project, then we'll be talking about cost or budget. We don't want our project to go over budget. The third definition says Microsoft Project consists of three combined databases. The first database is storing the list of tasks. The second database is storing the list of resources, those people, material, or equipment needed to perform the task. Tasks are activities that need to be completed for the entire project to reach its final goal. We call it the deliverables. And resources are people, material, or equipment needed to perform these tasks. The matching between the two databases, the task and the resources database, is called the assignment database. Who will be doing what? So I defined Microsoft Project as a family, and I defined Microsoft Project as a function. Now the question is, how do I start a project? Well, to start a project, whether it's a simple project, as simple as planning for a birthday or a wedding, or moving a house, or it can be a complicated project like building a highway or building an airport, in all cases, we can start the project in one of the following ways. I can start a project from scratch, a blank project, or I can open an existing project and continue building that project. Or I can start a project with a predefined template. We use templates in other applications as well. So a template is a predefined project that I customize according to my needs. Or I might be importing the project information from another application, as I mentioned earlier, like Excel for instance. So to understand Microsoft Project, we need to explore the interface. We'll be exploring the ribbon, the quick access toolbar, and we'll be talking about views because everything in Microsoft Project occurs in a view. We have a lot more views than any other Microsoft Office application, assuming that we are considering them one family, although they are not. After exploring the interface, we want to start building our project. We'll be building the three databases from scratch. Now we want to explore the interface of Microsoft Project. I just clicked on Microsoft Project in the Start menu, and here is the Getting Started screen. How can I start a project? I can start a blank project by clicking on Blank Project on this screen. If I click on Blank Project, then it takes me to this screen, which is a blank project. I want to go back, so I click on the File tab, and on the File tab I click on Home, and I'm back to the Getting Started screen. I can create a project based on another project. This is called New from Existing Project. I can also open an existing project by clicking on Open, like any other application, and I'll be navigating to the location of that project. And as I mentioned in my introduction, I can start a project from Excel, assuming that I have an Excel file having the list of tasks. I have to locate that file on my computer, and then project will take me to a wizard that will walk me through the steps for bringing the list of tasks into Microsoft Project. I can also start a project from a template, a pre-existing template. If I click on More Templates, then I'll see a list of templates. I can search for any template I want by clicking in the search box as if I'm searching on Google, but I want to go back to Home because here I already have one that I used before. It's called Commercial Construction. If you don't have it, then you can type it in the search box when clicking on More Templates. What happens when I click on Commercial Construction? This is a predefined model that I can customize according to my needs, but for now I'm going to use it just to explore the interface of Microsoft Project. So I click on Commercial Construction, and in order to launch the template, it's going to ask me one single very important question. What's the start date of your project? Because if you remember, we talked about project managing a triad of constraints, among them time. So time is all based upon the start date of the project. So if I click on commercial construction, here it tells me what's the starting date of the project. I have a date picker. I can select any date in the past or in the future, but I'm going to accept today's date as the default, and then I hit create. When I hit create, it takes me to the interface of Microsoft Project that we want to explore. I'm going to zoom in. Up at the top, I have the ribbon of Microsoft Project. It doesn't have as many tabs as Excel or PowerPoint, so I have the Task tab, the Resource tab, the Report tab, the Project tab, and the View tab. The contextual tab format depends upon the view. The view where I am right now is the default view of Microsoft Project. It's called the Gantt chart view. I'll be talking about this view in a moment, but for now this is called the timeline. The timeline is a way of displaying the different tasks on a timeline. For now I don't need it, so I want to turn it off. All this part is called the timeline, and you can read timeline on the left-hand side. And because I don't want to view it, then I go to the View tab of the ribbon, and to the right side of the View tab, I'm going to take the check away from timeline to turn it off. I turned the timeline off, and it's making more room to my work area. The view that I see right now is called the Gantt chart view. And the Gantt chart view is the default view of Microsoft Project. It was created in the early 20th century by an American engineer named Henry Gantt. So I want to show you the Gantt chart, which actually consists of two parts. On the left side, I have a table structure. Then I have a vertical divider, so I can move the vertical divider right and left to see more of the table. And then on the right hand side, I have a bar chart. It's a special bar chart. So I'm going to use my horizontal scroll bar to bring the bar chart. And if you want, you can zoom in a little more to see more of the bar chart. The Gantt chart view, as I said, is the default view of Microsoft Project, and we'll be talking about the Gantt chart view and what we see here in a moment, but I don't want to forget exploring the ribbon. Like any other application in the Microsoft Office suite, you can collapse the ribbon to make more room to your work area. So I can collapse the ribbon by double-clicking, and I can expand it by double-clicking on any tab. I can also use the shortcut Ctrl F1 to collapse, or use the same shortcut Ctrl F1 to expand. Above the ribbon, I have a short toolbar. This short toolbar is called the Quick Access toolbar. And the Quick Access toolbar, by default, doesn't have a lot of options like other applications. But the power of the Quick Access toolbar is that it's fully customizable. So let's say I want to add a command to the Quick Access toolbar. On the right-hand side of the Task tab of the ribbon, I have a command called Scroll to Task. This is an interesting command. I'll be using it a lot. So I want to add it to the Quick Access toolbar by right-clicking on the command and select Add to Quick Access toolbar, and the command has been added. And because everything in Microsoft Project occurs in a view, and we have a lot more views than any other application, then I want to bring a certain command that enables me to switch views with a drop list. And this command is not available on the ribbon. So I'm going to click on the down pointing arrow to the right side of the Quick Access toolbar, and from here I'll go down to More Commands. The Project Options dialog box opens, and because the command I'm looking for is not a popular command, then I click on the first drop list on the left side and I select All Commands. I get an alphabetical listing of all the commands. I need to scroll down to letter V because I'm searching for view, and when I scroll down to letter V, now I can see multiple options for view. I need to select the second one, having like an icon for a drop list. I select it, I click on Add to move it to the right hand side. I can move it up and down. I'm going to move it to the end by using the up and down arrow. And now I hit OK to go back to the regular interface. Here is my drop list. I can switch views from the drop list. And right now it tells me you are in the Gantt chart view. How do we switch views in Microsoft Project? You can either use this drop list, which is a very efficient way, and you learned how to add it to the Quick Access toolbar. It doesn't exist by default. We have scattered view buttons across the different tabs of the ribbon. So on the Task tab, I have the Gantt chart view. If I click on the down arrow of the Gantt chart, I see some other views as well. I can go to the Resource tab, and here I have the Team Planner view. If you click on the down arrow, then you have some other views as well. You can also switch views by going to the right side of the status bar in the lower right side of your window, and you will see some view buttons as well. These are the most commonly used views. You can also switch views by adding a special bar to the left-hand side, and you do that by moving your mouse pointer just below the ribbon to the very left of your window and then right-click. From the right-click menu, select View Bar, and that will bring a special bar for switching views. Should you wish to remove it, hover over the View Bar and right-click, and uncheck View Bar, and you got rid of the View Bar. The central location for changing views is by going to the special tab called the View tab. So when I go to the View tab, I have a lot more options than any other view. I have the different views. I have a command named Other Views where I can select more views, and it will open a special window where not only I can switch between the different views, but I can create a new view based upon the requirements. So if I close this box, I also have some views here on the left-hand side. We have the network diagram view. It shows the different tasks in a flowchart diagram. I can navigate between the different tasks by using the horizontal scroll bar, and I see that I have like lines joining the different tasks. These are called links, and they join the different tasks or nodes. I want to switch back to another view, a view that looks like Microsoft Outlook. So if I click on Calendar, I'll be switching to the Calendar view. And here I have a calendar on the left-hand side. I have navigation buttons. And if I wish to switch back to the Gantt chart view, I can do that by clicking on Gantt view. Let's have a look at the Gantt chart view, the default view of Microsoft Project. As I said, it has a table structure on the left-hand side, and this table structure is showing different fields. So I have a field called the task name. This is the name of each task. And as I mentioned, everything is related to time, and Microsoft Project is managing time. So here I have the start and finish time for each task. A task is an activity that needs to be completed in order to reach the final goal of the project. When you create a task, if you set the start and finish time, then Microsoft Project will be calculating the duration, the difference between the start and finish time, excluding the non-working hours and the non-working days. We also have a divider separating the table structure from the chart, and the Gantt chart represents each individual task with a horizontal bar. The length of the bar is directly proportional to the duration of the task. So this task number 2 has 3 days duration, so it has a short Gantt chart bar. But if you go to another one having like 2 weeks, like number 7, if I select it, it has a much longer bar chart. So the length of the bar is a direct reflection to the duration of the task. And if you look at the Gantt chart bar, you will see as well like some names and how much percent of each task has been completed. So the Gantt chart bar is giving me information about the project at any point of time. Who will be working on this task? These are the resources. So I can see them either to the right side of the Gantt chart bar, or I can see them to the left side of the divider. There is a column called the resource name. The resource name matches exactly what you see on the right side of the Gantt chart bar. These are the people, material, or equipment that will be working on each one of these individual tasks. Because any project, whether simple or complex, should be granularized to a list of tasks. Let's go back to the right side and look at the Gantt chart bar. You will see some lines joining the different bars. These are called links. And these links mean that for the next task to be performed, we need to finish with the previous task. There is kind of dependency between the different tasks. The task that precedes is called the predecessor, and the task that comes next is called the successor. And that's why we have a column for predecessor. So what's the predecessor of task number 3? It's task number 2. What's the predecessor of task number 7? The predecessor is task number 6, and so on. These links or dependency show us the predecessor and the successor. The default dependency is called finish to start, but we have some other types of dependency. If I double click on any one of these lines, a dialog box will open, the task dependency dialog box, and it will show me the different types of dependency. So we have 4 types of dependency. As I said, the default is finish to start. I'm going to close this dialog box, and we are still exploring the Gantt chart bar. This is a list of task names. Like in Excel, I can expand the column. When I expand the column, and we call it a field in Microsoft Project, Now I can see the full list of tasks. Some of the tasks are outdented and bold, and some other tasks are regular and indented. The outdented task has a little triangle. We call it a summary task. It has a duration, which is a calculated duration based on the individual duration of each individual task. So the summary task is outdented, it is bold, it has a little triangle. So if I click on the triangle, I'm collapsing the summary task. I can expand it by clicking on the triangle one more time. When we create a project, we divide it into phases by creating these summary tasks, and we call this process phasing the project. If you have a big project, including lots of tasks, you can focus only on the summary tasks by collapsing all the subtasks. And you do that by selecting the task name, and you go to the View tab of the ribbon, click under Outline, and from here you will be selecting, let's say, Level 1. When I select Level 1, what I see right now are the summary tasks. If I want to bring back all the subtasks, I click on the down pointing arrow one more time, and I select Show Subtasks. We also have a column that specifies the task mode. What does it mean, the task mode? The task mode can be one of two things. It can be either manual or automatic. And the modes are available on the Task tab of the ribbon. If I click on the Task tab of the ribbon, I have the two modes, the manual schedule or auto schedule. The auto schedule is a better way of scheduling your project. You are specifying the duration of a task, and because we specified the start date of the project, then Microsoft Project is doing the heavy lifting for us, and it calculates the start and finish date for each task automatically. Manual schedule should be used sparingly. It gives you more flexibility because you are in control of everything, but you will be doing all the hard work. We use it for individual tasks. We don't use it for an entire project. So we can switch mode by going to the Task tab of the ribbon and select Manual and Automatic. I want to draw your attention to this little icon, the push pin button, or this square with the right pointing triangle. That's the same icon we see in the task mode. So if, for instance, I'm switching a certain task to a manual mode, right now it's auto schedule. So if I switch a certain task to the manual mode, look what happens. I see the other icon. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to undo, Control Z, same shortcut like other applications. I can switch mode either from the task mode column or from the task tab of the ribbon, or I can switch mode by going to the left side of the status bar in the lower left corner of my screen, and here I see this little command, auto schedule. If you click on it, there is a pop-up menu from which you can switch the mode as well. When creating a project from scratch, you will definitely need to go to the Project tab of the ribbon. So if I go to the Project tab of the ribbon, here I have two important options, the project information and the change working time. Let's explore the project information dialog box. When I click here, it opens a dialog box that asks me the most important question. What's the start date of the project? That's because I'm planning for this project starting from the start date of the project. There is another way of scheduling the project. When you have a due date, you can plan in reverse order by changing the schedule from, and I select project finish date. Keep an eye on this upper part because instead of planning from the start date, here you need to specify the finish date of the project and will be planning in reverse order. I'm not going to change that, so I'm going to hit cancel. I'm planning this project from the start date. The other option, change working time. That's the calendar of Microsoft Project. And because we are talking about time in Microsoft Project, the start and finish date for each individual task, then we need to understand the scheduling tool of Microsoft Project called the calendar. If you click on change working time, it will open the change working time dialog box, and here it says the standard or project calendar. We have four calendars in Microsoft Project. The standard calendar is the calendar that comes with the application. It has predefined settings. Let's have a look at this calendar, the standard calendar of the project. If I click on Option, it will take me to the Project Options dialog box. The project options can be accessed from the File tab by clicking on File then Option, and here it says Schedule. It says the default for Microsoft Project is to start the week on a Sunday, and the fiscal year on January. We work 5 days a week because Saturday and Sunday are off, and we work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with 1 single hour lunch break. We are working 8 hours a day. If you do the math, that's 40 hours a week, and we work 20 days a month. That's the default. If this applies to your project, then keep it. In this case, the project calendar is the standard calendar. If it doesn't apply to your project, then you can go to the options and change it. So let's say not all countries have Saturday and Sunday off. In some other countries, they have Friday and Saturday off. So I can change it here in this dialog box. In this dialog box, we can modify the project calendar, and we can create a calendar for each individual person or resource working on this project. We'll call it the resource calendar. Or I can create a special calendar for a specific task, and we'll be doing that later in the course. A calendar is the scheduling tool of Microsoft Project. It shows the working and non-working time. What if we have a national holiday? What if we are going on vacation? What if we have a training or a celebration in the company? That will be an exception. So here I have an exceptions tab. I can specify the exception for any task which will be a non-working time. An exception is a non-working time. I can specify it here. I want to have a look in this dialog box to the work weeks. So if I click on the next tab, work weeks, I can see on the calendar that Saturday and Sunday are grayed out. That means they are done working days. I can go to details if I wish to change it. When I click on details, now it shows me each individual day. So if I select Monday, now it says the working time is from 8 to noon, and then you have the lunch break and you resume work from 1 to 5 p.m. If you want to change that, you can select the third option, set days to these specific working times, and you simply type. So if someone is starting at 7 a.m. and finishing at 4, or you have a different lunch break, then you can change it here. I'm not going to change that. But if you want to change a certain working day and make it a non-working day, like Friday is a working day, I want to set it to a non-working time. So if I select set days to non-working time, then Friday will become a non-working day. Let me try this. So if I hit OK, now look at that. I'm back to the work weeks tab. I see the calendar icon, and Friday is grayed out, denoting that it's a non-working day. And because everything is calculated by time, then changing the calendar affects the duration of the different tasks. Changes in the calendar affects the delivery of your project, or it affects the end date of your project. I'm not going to save any of these changes, so I'm going to hit cancel, and I close the dialog box. One more thought here. The duration is in days or in weeks. You can modify the duration and it will be automatically reflected on the start and finish date. It will be reflected on the Gantt chart bar. It will be reflected on other tasks so long as you have dependency. There is a special type of duration called E-day or E-week. What does it mean? E-day or E-week or E-month. It means elapsed duration, because some tasks can be achieved during the working and non-working hours. If you want to accommodate for that, instead of using D for day, W for week, M for month, you can use ED for elapsed day, or EW for elapsed week, or E month for elapsed month. I also want to explore another view. This is the task database, and the best view for exploring the task database is the Gantt chart bar, the view where I am right now. These people are resources, material, equipment required to perform the task. The names that you see on the right side of each bar, these are the resources. I see them also in the table structure, So if I reduce the width of the task name field, now I can see a column for the resource name. These are people, material, or equipment required to perform the task. If you remember in the introduction, we mentioned we have three databases. This is the database storing the list of tasks. We have another database storing the resources. Let's have a look by switching the view. I'm going this time to switch view by going to the lower right side of my screen and click on Resource Sheet. This is the resource sheet view, where I see the different resources. Resources can be of different types. So I have work resources, I have material resources, and I have cost resources. We'll be talking about the different types of resources later on, but I just wanted to explore the resource database. I want to go back to the Gantt chart view, so still on the lower right side of my screen, I'm going to click on Gantt chart. We explored the interface of Microsoft Project using the commercial construction template. Now we want to start creating a project and build the three databases from scratch. And to do that, I need to start with a blank project. If you enjoyed this training video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to learn more about Microsoft Project, then write a comment and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.